Welcome to Crushgasm, the podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes. From their first to their worst, we're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters. But today, envelope please, because we are talking about the Oscars from 2025, the 97th annual, I believe, hosted by none other than my favorite late night comedian ever, Conan O'Brien. This year, I was going hard for Wicked. Unfortunately, award season did not pan out like my fantasy, and Cynthia Erivo was shut out completely, but we'll get to that. Actually, we're going to get to it right now because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande kicked off the Oscars this year with a medley of Wizard of Oz, Wicked, music from all that, that multiverse, I guess we want to call it. I don't know if it's a multiverse or just like a long series of witchery, but they did amazing. My only issue was that they didn't get a lot of love this award season, like I mentioned before, especially Cynthia Erivo, who, just that note alone, at the end of Wicked Part 1, Defying Gravity, everybody knows it by now, that was Oscar winning. So to parade around like movies that make the most money never sits well with me, because it's like you're not giving them the same level of respect, but they're the ones who actually got people in the seats, That's always bothered me. I hate when like movies that are actually good, not saying like Fast and Furious deserves to be at the Oscars unless there's finally a stunt category, but movies like Wicked that are actually beautifully done and make a lot of money. I mean, come on, give them their flowers. You award animation all the time, and those movies are just as MTV award worthy as the Wickeds and everything. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Cynthia and Ariana did great at the beginning. I mean, everybody was waiting for the moment. It came. We gasped. I was like, oh, finally. And then Conan comes out. I found it weird he didn't kind of start things, but I loved what he did. He is my favorite late night host, like I said, and I was happy to see him host. He was kind of the reason I wanted to watch. Even if I didn't like any of the movies this year, I was going to watch just for Conan, and he did really well. I feel like the audience kind of was lukewarm with him. Maybe didn't get his style, his comedy. He's not as like family friendly as maybe Fallon, or as like haha wink wink as like Kimmel. But I digress. Tell me what you think. Do you think Conan did a good job? I think he did. I think he managed well, especially hosting in a time like this where you have to make light of things. He did good. And in true Conan fashion, he talks about in his monologue about how the Oscars, we gotta stay on time, we gotta be with the time, so we don't want to waste any time. Goes into this whole song and dance number about wasting time, which, let's talk about something that did waste time. The James Bond medley, tribute, homage, whatever we want to call it. I guess they're supposed to announce a new James Bond soon. It would have been amazing viral moment if the new James Bond came out at the end, but no, it was just Margaret Qualley from The Substance dancing in red. All right, that's cool. Halle Berry, a Bond girl herself, she came out to introduce it. Forgot that part. Then Margaret Qualley danced. And then some girl named Lisa, wonderful singer, she did one of the Bond songs. I'm not a Bond girly, so I don't really know the names. She kept like Live and Let Die, I would think. And then Doja Cat, she's saying Diamonds Are Forever, whatever, and that wasn't great. That could have been left on the cutting room floor. I can't believe it went through rehearsal and dress and they said, go. But Ray brought it home. I remember her from the Grammys this year. She was nominated for Best New Artist, lost to Chappell Roan, but that's okay. She has this like old Hollywood thing to her, and I really liked her outfit, but I'll get to later what it reminded me of from the 90s. Think about it. What was your guess? But yeah, she did Starfall. Lisa, Ray, and Margaret Qualley, Halle Berry, great. Doja Cat, we didn't need that. All in all, I don't know why they did it. Again, if they would have brought the new James Bond out, that would have been really cool. But they didn't do that. So, fail on that part. This was a year we didn't have songs performed. All the original songs weren't performed. Wonder why. Yeah. So we had the medley from Wicked. We had this James Bond randomness. And we also had a tribute to Quincy Jones, who passed last year, who was an innovator in all forms of entertainment, from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to Michael Jackson, working with Michael Jackson and Frank Sinatra in music, and also movies like The Wiz, which Queen Latifah came out and did a number from The Wiz. Don't think she was singing live. Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, live. Doja Cat, I know that was live because if it was recorded, that was crazy. Queen Latifah, though, I've watched enough RuPaul's Drag Race to know when somebody is lip syncing, and that was a lip sync for your life. And I think she would have, Shantae, you stay Queen Latifah. It was a good performance. It just, if you're gonna come and do it live. Let's get to some awards. We're gonna do the more non-acting ones like screenplay, makeup and hair, and costume, because these were some of my favorite wins of the night. So for Best Original Screenplay, which I think is harder to do, obviously, than an adapted one. You can already have the source material. That one went to Sean Baker from Anora. He had wonderful speeches throughout the night. It wasn't for this one, but spoiler alert, he does win Best Director later on. In that one, he's presented to it by Quentin Tarantino, which I know my husband would have been really geeked about. That's his favorite director, and I know he's a lot of like directors, so that had been a cool moment for Mr. Baker. He mentioned his love of movie theaters, and he's like, where did we fall in love with movies and the things we're here to celebrate? He's like, at the theater, and he goes hard for like going to the movies and being a patron of those indie theaters. And I myself, we have one down the street. I was really sad to leave LA because LA gets all the movies, even the limited releases. They have small theaters all around the LA vicinity. I moved to Virginia. We had one theater. It got the biggest movies, so I didn't get to always see the releases when I lived there for 2 years. But then Ohio, I was like, maybe it's going to be more or less the same. But the Drexel down in Bexley, Ohio, stunning little independent theater me and my husband go to very often. Even when they get the bigger movies, if it's playing there, we'll opt to go there instead of AMC, because not only is it smaller, it's more intimate, but it reminds us a lot of the theaters we had growing up. We both come from small towns, so we have this kind of small little, in the little downtown area, marquee, 3 movies, 3 screens, and Bexley reminds me of that. And it's also more affordable, and it's closer to home. So Bexley, and shout out to the Fox Cineplex in Banning, California, where that was my first theater. So Sean Baker won for Nora for Best Original Screenplay. Hair and makeup, Scarlett Johansson, who used to be my #1 girl crush. We broke up though. I replaced her with Olivia Wilde, and now me and Olivia are on the fence. But came out with June Squibb. I just want to go off on a tangent. June Squibb, I don't know how she was overlooked for the Oscar for Best Actress for Thelma. I'm sorry, my apologies to who won and the nominees, but you did not do what Miss June did in Thelma. I'm sorry, you just didn't. I was so happy to see June at the Oscars though with Scarlett. They had a funny little bit before they announced that The Substance won. I think kudos to them. I thought that was a really stacked category too. You had The Substance, a lot of prosthetics, Nosferatu, and the one that had Sebastian Stan. Sorry, I don't remember the name of it, but a lot of like prosthetics. So it had like makeup had been done, and it looked really cool. Some makeup and hair, shout out. And then costume. If this didn't go to Wicked, I was going to lose my mind, and I didn't have to because it won. Yay! And I want to get his name right. Paul Tanzel, first black man to ever win Best Costume. I believe a woman has won before. A black woman has won. She won for Black Panther, I believe. But yeah, so that guy, Paul Tanzel, he made history. So shout out to him, and he designed beautiful clothing. I mean, come on. A couple of other categories that I think I'm always pretty excited for are the Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song. Again, Best Original Song was not performed. None were performed this year. A little weird, but let's talk about the animated one first. I thought Inside Out 2 has this. They're gonna win this. It was my favorite movie of last year. And then I saw The Wild Robot, and I was like, this is gonna win the Oscar. I said, I'm sorry, Inside Out. I love you personally, but this movie, which I also love, both 10 out of 10 for me. And then we got to the Golden Globes, and a movie about a cat one called Flo. And I read what Flo was about. If I couldn't handle the wild robot, I know I'm not going to be able to handle Flo, because I also recently rewatched Oliver and Company, and I was dying at the intro. If you've not seen that, it's no spoiler. Oliver is a kitten and his in a box full of cats. You know, someone just puts it outside a store, and you watch as all the other cats, all his brothers and sisters, get picked, and he's last, and nobody wants him. And then a storm comes in New York, and then his little box just gets like all twist and turned. It is so sad. I know people talk about Up as like the hardest thing to watch in animation, the first like 5 or so minutes. I'm gonna toss Oliver and Company in the ring. So Flo, congrats to you. It will take a lot for me to watch it though, because I don't know, there's something about pets. I have a pet, so it's like, ugh, that just animals, people, animals, cry all day. And that was also Latvia's first Academy Award, the team for Flo. So congrats to them. Now, best original song. You had Diane Warren. This was our 16th nomination. If you don't know Diane Warren, she wrote so many hits in the 90s. Like, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, I believe, is like one that she wrote that I'm like shocked didn't win her an Oscar. And then you had Elton John nominated as well. And the reason why, I'm sure this Amelia Perez movie, I think changed the drama with it too. Like the drama of the lead actresses, old tweets are surfacing, everything just changed the whole production of this show. First off, being that the original songs weren't going to be sung, because if you've seen the clips, I've not watched this movie because every clip of Amelia Perez looks more and more chaotic. And then I went to the Wikipedia, as one does, and I was trying to read the description, and it was like mystery, crime solving, musical, drama. I was like, oh, Amelia, you have too many personalities. Get it together. So I have not watched a movie, but every clip this award season, I've been like, what is this? Especially when they show them singing, and you're like, this won over Wicked? Couldn't be me, couldn't be me. So best original song, Amelia Perez, if I remember correct, has two songs nominated, and one of them wins. So the winners go up. It is a woman, I believe, named Colette or something like that. This woman goes up there with this guy, and then at the end of their speech, this lengthy speech, she starts singing the song. And it is worse and more awkward to me than when La La Land got announced, and it was actually Moonlight that won Best Picture that one year. Like, it's what the kids call cringe, and I think we can all agree that was the pure definition of cringe. Oh, I want to forget that ever happened, but I have to talk about it because it was so cuckoo bananas. To cleanse myself of that best original song win, I'm gonna talk about fashion for a moment. The Oscars, to me, this is Hollywood's prom. This should be the biggest. This is the last award of the award season. This should be the banger. This is like for the Grammy girlies, they had the Grammys. If they're nominated for an Oscar, they're gonna do it up one more time. But for actors and everything, this is it. And I want you to bring drama. I don't want to see just a basic dress. I want to see something that's like, I am an Oscar winner. So, shout out to the girls from Wicked. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande came into this probably 99.9% sure neither of them were getting on that stage to accept an award. They were going to go up there and sing, do what they do best, and they did just that. And they also were some of my best dressed on the red carpet. And during the performance, we'll talk about the red carpet first. Cynthia came, and they wore their Wicked colors. They said, girl, we're not giving up this color scheme yet. Cynthia Erivo, velvety, green, just structure, like Maleficent, off the neck, the shoulders. Loved it. And then Ariana Grande, it looked surreal, is all I can think. I can think like Salvador Dali of sorts, but like Salvador Dali in like rosé. It was this light pink structural top, but then just cascading down like a rain cloud of sorts. It was like she was floating in her little bubble. She said, I'm bringing Galinda to the Oscars. I loved it. I also love the like red sparkle that Ariana wore in their performance later on. Cynthia's a little more, I don't know why she wore like white with flowers. If you're a Wizard of Oz person, maybe let me know. I've never seen that movie. I've only seen Wicked. I know. But I get the story because I watched the Muppet Babies and they basically told you every single thing in pop culture. Halle Berry, also another one of my favorites. It was, oh, just to die for it. It reminded me of like the reflective mirror kind of runway on RuPaul's Drag Race from a few seasons ago. Selena Gomez, who's not like my favorite person in the world, but if you're good, if you're styled good, I'm gonna give you your flowers. And she looked amazing. The dress was so sparkly, it fit her perfectly. June Squibb, my girl, my queen, my best dress because I love sparkle, but I also love floral, and she delivered both in like the perfect, most like way for me. And also, again, shout out to Ray who performed in that James Bond thing. She reminded me of the exclamation like perfume or cologne, whatever it was from the 90s. That bottle. Oh, if your mom had that bottle, she's a real one. Now, those were my favorites. Males, Coleman Domingo kind of always looks good, but he didn't like ooh me tonight, like, or last night, whatever. He was just in red, and I thought he looked good. I like Timothy Chalamet. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, and hey, nobody does yellow, especially the men. So I did like that. I like when the men finally do color. Those were the goods. The bads. There weren't many. Like this year, there wasn't a lot of. There was some where I was like, really, like Elle Fanning, the like KFC bow in the front. I wasn't a fan of that. And then Lupita Nyong'o, I liked it sort of, but then it had that like middle part, like kind of bejeweled corset that just with the pearls. It was like Coco Chanel thing. You take one thing off, and I think that outfit could have benefited from that. Other than though, I didn't hate them though. Like they look great, and I was like, but the ones that I questioned. So first off, Whoopi Goldberg, which I didn't hate, but here's my problem with it. I didn't like the top. I wanted to feel it because the material looked amazing. I think it was just like a dress that felt more like Super Sweet 16 or Quinceañera, like something more youthful. And I think that's what you hear a lot if you watch Sayas to the Dress. You're like, oh, like a woman of particular age isn't going to get the ball gown usually. And that's what Whoopi wore to me. It seemed more like prom night, not like Oscar night. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because I thought the material was really cool. What I did hate though, my apologies to this newly, spoiler, Oscar winner, Zoe Saldana. What was that? The necklace that was like, I always get ads for like Temu or Shein or something that's like this weird alligator necklace. Reminded me of that. She had like opera gloves that were sheer or something, and then speaking of Shein, the bandeau top that was Shein, and then she was just, it was bad. It looked like she was cosplaying like Heimlich from A Bug's Life, but red. Like after the bandeau part, it was a mess. And she knew, like she had been the front runner. Like going into this, she had won a lot of, I think she's won everything. All the best supporting actress shows. Like the girls from Wicked, 99.9% they weren't going to win. Zoe Saldana was 99.9% sure she was going to win. And she chose that as the dress, that's going to be with her in her first Oscar forever. Brave, honestly. So, just also shout out to Demi Moore. She didn't win, but she looked really beautiful too. She was 100% sure she was gonna win. But let's talk about that. So we're gonna get to the big six. We'll start with Best Supporting Actor and Actress. So Kieran Culkin. This was the only movie I did see. I saw A Real Pain because Jesse Eisenberg is my number one celebrity crush. I can't tell you why. I just like the way he's like a little fidgety guy. He wrote and directed this, so I had to watch it. Unfortunately, it did come to my Drexel Theater, but I had to go to California because sadly my dad passed away last year, and his funeral was that weekend that they were going to have it. So I didn't get to see this one. I was going to go to the theater, but life said, no, girl, no. So I had to wait till it dropped on Hulu. I watched it. I didn't think this was like one of those wow movies. Like I watched The Holdovers after last year's Oscars because let me see it. And I was like, this is like one of those just simple, human-based stories, and I loved it. I like movies like that where it's just like it's just about people. There's no like superheroes. There's no like spooky things. It's just like this is human life, and a real pain wanted to be. I feel what the holdovers was, and it didn't quite hit there for me. But congrats to Kieran Culkin for the win. He's on a hot streak right now after Succession. You would have thought he was going to take a break from all this glitz and glamour, and I think now he is, because with his acceptance speech, he was like, "My wife said if I won the Emmy, she'd give me 3 babies." And then I was like, "Hey, babe, if I win, what do we do if I win an Oscar?" And she's like, "4 babies." And she shook on it, and she didn't believe in me. But hey, let's get cracking, girl. He had such a great speech. He had like the funnest, most like relatable speech of the night. So then, we're sad. So we saw Donna won Best Supporting Actress for Amelia Perez. No shocker there, but it's still, even though we knew Zoe Saldana was likely going to win this, if as a betting woman, I would have bet on her. I really wanted Ariana Grande. Oh, I hope, God, like, we're getting Wicked 2 this year, and if it doesn't, I've never seen it. So is there another Defying Gravity? Like, is the second half going to be able to do what the first half did? Will they get another chance to be nominated? Stay tuned, I guess, right? So Zoe Saldana wins, and I just don't find her genuine. Does anyone else feel like she's very genuine? Because like, on one second she's like really like she's really like emboldened and passionate about her like family, and she's like, I'm the first Dominican winner and I won't be the last, and then instantly like turns off that emotion, goes, "And babe, I like your hair." Like, it was just really weird levels. Like, Kieran Culkin's had levels, but they felt like that's a human being. And then while Zoe Saldana's levels were like, "Oh, that's an actress or an actor." I don't know. There's something off about her. And then, I mean, if you saw her comments after. And then we had the Best Actor, with Cillian Murphy, who I love his energy. He seems like he never wants to be anywhere he has to be. Like, he just wants to be like Daniel Day-Lewis, where he's like, "I'm going to be an actor, but I don't want to have to do all this other stuff. Like, don't make me do this." And unfortunately, who won Best Actor? I think he has the record now. His speech was over 5 minutes. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. He came up there. The music started. First off, he threw gum at his wife. She didn't catch it. It's like on the floor. Like, somebody at Dolby had to like clean that up. Or I think his wife picked it up actually. But that's gross. And then he goes up there and like they start playing the music after, because they already get longer speeches than everybody else. He starts like talking. He's like, "No, I've been here before." That got a laugh. That was kind of funny. He's like, "I've been here. Like, what are you gonna do?" So he like, and you think, oh, he's making him stop the music, and like he's gonna keep going. He's gonna say something really great, like the winners of the best like documentary, No Other Land. It's about like what's going on in Israel and Palestine. Beautiful speech about that and like politics and everything. And you think, oh, Adrian Brody's about to go there. He went nowhere. We sat in the parking lot. Nowhere was gone. So I don't know why he needed a long speech, but I know Cillian Murphy, because I feel him on a spiritual level of hating having to be somewhere. He hated that moment, and he's like so glad he's probably gonna take like some years off work, so he never has to go to the Oscars for a while. And then Best Actress, last year's winner, Emma Stone, comes out, and everyone's like, oh, "Here we go, Demi Moore." Everyone, even the other nominees are like, "I could have went to the bathroom. It's not gonna be me." But shocker of the freaking night, Mickey Madison from Anora wins, and she's like all of us. She's shocked. She's stunned. She's shook it. She is like, "What's going on?" And she goes up there. I think she gives a cute speech, because she had it written down, but I don't think she had any intention of reading it, because Demi Moore was the big front runner coming in. But congrats to her. This is for you, pretty woman. And then Best Director goes to Sean Baker. He won for Best Original Screenplay for Anora. Like I said, he got it from Quentin Tarantino. And then Best Picture. This one, I didn't know where it was going to go. I knew Wicked wasn't going to get it. No way. But then I was like, The Brutalist And Conclave, for me, seemed like movies I'd never watched. So I'm definitely leaning towards them. A Complete Unknown, Bob Dylan. There is nothing in my body, in my being, that makes me want to see A Complete Unknown. I don't like Bob Dylan, and a movie about Bob Dylan, I don't care who it's starring. I'm not watching that. But Honora wins. So Sean Baker he takes home Honora's like the sweep of the Oscars, and congrats to them. It's an indie film. They made sure you knew that. They made sure you knew the budget was small, but the talent was right. And hey, when that happens, you win Best Picture. What do you think of the 2025 Oscars? Were you excited about it? Did your favorite ones win? Did they lose? Who was snubbed? Thelma. I also think Dee Dee. If you listen to the show, you know I was a big fan of Dee Dee. I would have loved to see that kid from that in Best Actor instead of Adrian Brody. And I would have loved to see the mom from Dee Dee as Best Supporting. Would she have be Ariana for me? Yes. But thank you for listening. It's been real. We'll do this again next year for the 2026 Oscars. And fingers crossed that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande get their dues. But that means that nothing can come out that I love as much as I love their performances in the first Wicked. So we'll see. There's some good movies coming out. But thank you again for listening to me talk about the Oscars from 2025. And until next time, as always, keep crushing it. Crushgasm is part of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network, along with some other pretty cool shows, including An Evening at the Movies, Crime Rewind, Literature Reapers, Love is Black, Masturbators, Men Are the Prize, Season to Season, The Sip List, and Toontastic Journeys. You can go to idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com to find not only Crushgasm, but all of the aforementioned really cool podcasts. Alrighty.